G'day everyone and welcome to another episode of Dave's RC Garage. On today's video, we're going to have a look at something a little bit smaller. Okay, so having a look around the box, I got the McLaren body on a two-wheel drive Mini Z, which is the rear wheel drive on the box, all ready to go. On this side, gives you a look at all the parts included. Some more technical detail on the back, or some option parts you can get. On the bottom, have the specification of the chassis and what body it exactly is. And on the last side, there's more about the features. And this one does include full bore bearings, which is awesome. Alright, so that's the box. Let's get out and have a look. Okay, so first thing out is the car, locked into the cardboard. We'll get that into a minute. Have a look what else is in here. I have our instruction manual. We go through everything you need to know about the car. Okay, here's the rest of the parts you get with it. These are all the components needed to change it from wide to narrow, as well as your motor adjustments, things like that, I believe. Some cones and your wheel tool. That box empty. In a very padded bag. The remote. The first one I've had of this type of Kyosho controller. I've had a few of their other ready sets in the past, so it's got a few adjustments, but not as much as some. Alright, let's get this car out. Okay, get the camera down here so you can see. There's some tape on either side of the box. Some cable ties down here, get them off. Okay, now we can get the car out of there. There's one more zip tie, just hold everything together while it's in the packaging. Okay, and we have the car fully released from its packaging. These bodies are just absolutely beautiful. The amount of detail into them, the paintwork is absolutely fantastic. They really are scale models. So, one word of warning: if you don't want your good body all scratched up, because as soon as you try and run this around here where it can hit anything, you will scratch and damage it. It doesn't take much to do. They are strong, but you'll still scratch and damage things. So if you do want to run it, especially race it, go and grab yourself a white body. That way you can paint it your own color, and it doesn't matter if it gets scratched and beat up because it's a racing body. But that's purely up to you. That's the good thing about this sport, it's very individual. If you want to run the detail body, you run it. If you want to run a racing body, you run that. Alright, so under the body here, now while since I've done this, okay, And there's the chassis. Little springs in the front there to provide a bit of suspension. Definitely feel it's notchy. And the center spring motor. Do this now, which gives us access to the screws for the T-plate if you want to adjust it. The little switch is buried in the middle there. So yeah, very simple chassis, very similar to old school 1/12 scale pan cars that were just dual drive, rear axle that drives off the motor, one shock in the middle, and just very basic front suspension. These cars take 4 AAAs, which go in here. There we go. The batteries just go in there. They give you a little hole there to help get them out. And it slips back in. So I'm not going to be running this car immediately. It is going to be getting checked over, so I know that everything works as it should. It's fun to do on. There we go. But yeah, that's the car. Getting into the spare parts that come here. Quite a few bits. As I mentioned before, there's both the top and lower plate. So they're in there to make the car narrow. You get a handy pinion gear removal tool. Of course, the steering arm for the narrow setup, also will change it being a different width. And we get all the adjustments for the motor to adjust your gearing. About that, the supplied pinion gears. There's a good range of options straight out of the box on these cars, which is really good. Spare C-clips, I believe, for the suspension. I've seen these are the different adjustments for the different lengths of chassis for the center shock or center spring. Also a couple of spare wheel nuts in case you lose them or strip them. And 2 very tiny little spacers. I've seen where these go, but I just can't remember offhand. I'll have to look that up. One thing about Kyosho, like a lot of quality brands, they use very good packaging, so not just ripping in the bags as easily as some. Okay, the other bag, you get your 2.4 bind tool. And a whole bunch of traffic cones. You set up your own little track at home, especially if you get a couple of these. Have a lot of them. And your wheel nut tool. Okay, so that's a look at what you get in a Kyosho Mini Z box. I'll be back in the next episode to go through how I'm going to go over this car and what I'm going to look at and change straight out of the box. As I said, this is nothing you have to do. You can take this car and run it exactly how it is and it will work. But by doing the few little checkups and making sure everything's clean and working fine, it will run better. So that's what I'm going to do with this, and that'll be the next video. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.